Do you reckon if someone ends up going to a game 3, J-Mac? What do you reckon GetOnMyLevel have to do to get to a game 3?
They've really got to shut Paul and Sam for Soccer more than anybody else down. They've got to keep this jungle mid at bay, and it looked like they were going to do that at the start of the game.
Yeah.
But then Sam just went on a tear, and they just weren't able to keep this Naja sitting pretty.
And I think that came down to was the fact that this Habwa jungle was roaming around, going closer and closer to the Naja, right? You want to put yourself as far away as possible, but if you're going to be in the jungle, well, there's going to be moments where you're just going to naturally cross paths.
Odin and Mercury, the first 2 bans. This time GetOnMyLevel will ban Freya, but they had the first pick. Should they not have been taking that here?
They don't play Freya, obviously.
Do you reckon?
Not in Southeast Asia, apparently, because they.
But he just discussed beforehand.
They play what they want.
No, but they said if we lose against it, we pick it. So they lost against it. Why not pick the Freya?
Or because they didn't lose to it in their own region.
Ah, you're a genius, Totally. You read between the lines way better than me. J-Mac, what do you want to see him pick first now that Tara's taken away too?
I'd like to see the Naja, honestly. Sam did really well with it, and like you said, they like to take what they lose against here, and it's not completely out of their ballpark to grab the Naja, but Athena's left open, completely forgot about this. Athena's just a great strong pick.
I was also going to say, if you pick the Naja, then Erlang Shen's still available, and Sam could just default to that, right?
It's very true, and I don't expect Naja and Erlang Shen for a Trifecta, although
sure?
you never really know about Scary D style if he's going to play that Erlang Shen. But I like the Athena first pick for GetOnMyLevel. It builds a great, stable foundation for the rest of the team composition.
And it's a flexible god too.
And I think it's also a safer pick if Hickeyi ends up going into this goddess here. I mean, last time on the Erlang Shen, he did well. He had some very good pins in those games. Actually kept his teammates alive a couple times, especially IApex over by that tier 2 in the left side. But it's going to be Erlang and Cerberus.
Double the amount of tankiness there coming out from Trifecta in response. Cerberus yesterday, I believe we saw NeiruMah play in the duo lane for a little while in a specific matchup against the Fenrir, but I guess it may be going there again. It's not guaranteed, however, as it is a solo flex.
Still very early in the draft to be determined of where either Erlang Shen or Cerberus shall end up for Trifecta, but Cerberus providing so much penetration for whatever god Paul elects to go.
And Cerberus very good against the counter initiation of when Athena dashes in for those taunts, because a quick Stygian Torment, and it's Athena that's displaced, not your own team.
Yeah, that's the big thing, is the Stygian Torment such a great counter up against the Athena as well. We saw the Fenrir Brutalize was a big one. I wouldn't be surprised to maybe see them go for the Fenrir themselves against this Athena, or we might even see a Chiron. We've seen Chiron as a big response when the Athena is picked up, but they're hovering Neath over here on GetOnMyLevel.
Global solely? Is that what it's all
seems
about?
to be, at least for the first 2 picks. Normally you wouldn't pick a Neath this early in the draft. Could be flexible between the dual lane or in the mid lane. We'll see how they like to go between SirEclipse and Bluefish.
Well, it looks like Paul might go to the Giannis. You mentioned this earlier on that we don't really see Paul on too much Giannis, but maybe this is a possibility this time that we do. You said the Neath as well, a little early in the draft for that. Why do we not normally see Neath as early?
Well, because there's other ways to counter the Neath. There's so much telegraph timing between her backflip that there's so many gods that can follow up, and Ullr has plenty of time to aim the hail of arrows, the bladed arrow to follow up, or just have the Cupid dash in. By the time Cupid finishes the dash, the Neath is still in the air.
I mean, she can't dash if you put the Fields of Love down, right?
Yeah, she can't backflip at all. She's
Field of Love is just such a strong ability against all 3 of these gods. Really, it's really good against the Neath, but it completely stops Athena from going in. It stops Kuzenbo's either going in or getting out, forces him to use that Watery Gray. This Cupid pick, while it may seem a little silly to go with it, it's really smart up against this composition, and now GetOnMyLevel has to really think about what they draft from here.
Cupid is consistently being picked now and again, and the one thing that Cupid always suffers from is people think that the Fields of Love is an engagement tool, a start of a team fight situation, which it is. When you've got gods like the Cerberus and the Erlang Shen to engage for you, this does make that Fields of Love even more impactful after the fact.
It's also a self-peeling mechanism, right? It applies the slow in the backline for yourself, and normally when you're getting dove by a jungler, that jungler doesn't have sprint, so you don't have to worry about IApex running away from you, and the slight mez that it also applies will guarantee the next heart bomb.
Pele, Dodgy taken away by Trifecta, and Morrigan in response from GetOnMyLevel. Do you like the Morrigan ban there? Pretty wise, just in case. I've not seen Paul on it too much, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him potentially be able to play it.
Yeah, Morgan's not really where he's kind of strayed to, but it is just in general a very strong ban up here, and the Zhang Kui as well, taking that one away from Scary D.
Yeah, it seems like a bit of a look at what happened with CLG versus Atletico from GetOnMyLevel there as well. I'm like, I don't think we want to deal with the Zhang that we had to deal with so fine okay play earlier on. Trifecta though with the next pick.
I think that Trifecta should be looking for not necessarily Paul's pick right off the bat. Maybe leave that for the last one, unless they're afraid of the Habwa going into GetOnMyLevel's hands again.
Paul on Harbois. Is this a dream come true for the viewers at home to see him really show what he can do on this?
I think it's a case of why didn't we see this sooner? Harbois finally getting picked up here for Paul, and this just gets me giddy because I've been watching him all throughout the amateur scene go nuts on this god, and now here on the world stage, he's finally getting a shot with it.
So last game it was GetOnMyLevel last picking the Harbois, and I think this game Paul is mad that he actually died at the beginning of that game. He's like, you know what? It's my time in the sun.
You're going to kill me with Harbois, watch me kill you with Harbois. That's pretty much his mentality. Now this Fenrir being hovered over, it's a good pick against Hebos, right, Tolly? Because it can chase him.
Sure. You're not going to be able to get knocked up by the water sprout. You can chase him through the crushing wave as well, but do you really want to chase him through the crushing wave? At the end of the day, it's going to come down to the positioning from Paul.
A little bit worried about the last couple of picks from GetOnMyLevel, though. They've had this Cupid that has been staring him in the face since the third pick from Trifecta. Their additional picks actually do get hurt really badly by Cripple as well.
These are not the picks I would have gone up against a Cupid with, especially Fenrir. That's half of his kit that he gets shut down by the Fields of Love. Obviously, he's going to try and use that to go in more than anything else, but he's not really going to have an escape outside of the Ragnarok, and Discordia, that leap of hers is pretty much her only safety measure.
Totally. Normally when we see Fenrir, just lately it's been in the support role, but an Athena and a Kuzumbo here. Is it Athena jungle, Fenrir support? Like, where do we expect?
It's flexible, honestly.
Yeah.
Athena and Fenrir can go either jungle. I think Kuzumbo will go into the support. Baron Samedi, surprised to see this hovered over the Artio, which could have been also another good cripple addition to shut down all the gods from GetOnMyLevel.
Scaredy for the Baron, we expect.
Scaredy for the Baron. I don't think this is going any other way.
Interesting composition done from these two teams on paper. Look at the picks and bans. Where do we side?
Picks and bans, Trifecta all the way.
So
Yeah.
GetOnMyLevel really with an uphill battle here. I think definitely the Fenrir is the one that I'm most interested in. Like, we don't really see it in the jungle too much at all, do we?
It's a lot of it coming down to the Cupid pick to counter the Fenrir. Without that Cupid, I think Fenrir would have been a fine pick, but picking a Fenrir into the Cupid, a little questionable.
Again, my level guys on the screen at least have happy faces on, the smiling away. They're enjoying the experience, even though they know they're not favorites into this one. They're really just making the most of the situation.
That's right, and we heard in the interview how MakerLovE wants to solo Zapman. We'll see if he does it here today. This Cupid versus Neith matchup, I'm not expecting it here today.
I mean, Neith does hit pretty hard with that Spirit Arrow, especially if you can get that with a Broken Weave. It does a lot of damage, but when you're going up against Cupid who has that Fields of Love, when are you ever really going to get a chance to drop one of those weaves down?
In fairness, is he ever going to get a solo kill? That's the key. I mean, as a Neith, you might get the end kill of the World Weaver, but it's not going to be on your own, is
And there's going to be hearts as well available for Zapman to just top himself off.
Interesting selection from both these two teams then. Let's get to it. Will Trifecta close this out and send GetOnMyLevel home, or GetOnMyLevel going to extend us to a Game 3? Let's find out. The casters are standing by.
We told MakerLovE, get something that can solo Zap. If he goes with the Neith, is that it? I don't know.
Well, in some ways, you only have to get zapped to like 10% HP, right? You have 10% less to do. It's just that your ultimate is going to do that guaranteed next 10. Here's the big play, okay? MakerLovE gets Blink at level 12.
Yes.
You sit in the jungle. You wait for Zap to walk up to the wave. You have to be very close. You ult him, blink before it lands, and root off of the stun. It's the zeros combo. It has 100% success rate at getting you fans and making people like you, and it could be the way to go. Something to keep an eye out for.
Could be the big play here for MakerLovE. Can he execute it once he hits that level 12? We'll certainly see. It's going to be the double horrific emblem here in lane, though, except the difference is Hickeyi has his upgraded all the way, whereas on the other side, NeiruMah is elected to hold off on that for now. So we'll see if they try and go aggressive in the 2v2 rather than just the solo.
It does end up slowing that attack speed and reducing the damage that Zapman will have. That and NeiruMah. So horrific's there. MakerLovE uses the purification beads. Hickeyi's also used his, so it reduces the damage of that heart bomb, which still hits pretty darn hard at this point in the game.
But Zapman relatively unscathed in that brief exchange. Remember, NeiruMah and Zap will be the ones who can sustain up relatively well throughout the fight. Now, MakerLovE will eventually have the Unravel as well, so both of them can, but Zap has the option to drop it down for both Neil and Zap to keep them topped off. So poke exchanges, I gotta think, will likely favor this Trifecta dual lane as Hickeyi almost just walked up and took it.
I really thought that man just walked up slowly and down smashed the purple buff away. I thought that's what just happened, but we...
a down smash?
Yeah, he did. Did that guy just walk up slowly and auto-attack a purple buff? And it was close, but ultimately ended up secured. by Trifecta. I do think that this Mage's Blessing for Zapman is a little bit odd. I can't say I'm a fan on Cupid because you only have 2 abilities that you're getting the proc off of. It's only on Heart Bomb, and it's only on one half of the Heart Bomb as well. Don't forget that. It only procs once per ability.
Well, they've already stolen away the red buff, so I guess why not come back in to go for the gank as well. Unchained stun. The root's there as well. Neil will fall. AApex grabs first blood for GetOnMyLevel. There's the aggression that we know to see from Southeast Asia.
Neil must have missed a melee minion somewhere along the way to be still sitting at level 1, because Zapman was a level 2. To be fair, I don't know the short-range dash would have been enough to get Neil away, and Hickeyi may have just thrown his life away. No, Zap didn't get the stun off, and now Zap needs to be careful. AApex lurking, but just took too much time. He definitely had opportunities to get in there and get his hands dirty, but waited too long.
And that's what I think they were looking for, as they were trying to catch Zapman out and get him to over-aggress into that fight. But Zapman stood his ground and even moved when Hickeyi walked at him. He just hit him with the heart bum. But let's go back and take a look at that respawn first blood and see how they were able to grab it. This is all off the gank from AApex, really, that sets this up.
Like I said, even if Neil's level 2 at this point, I mean, he is so far from safety, and that jump doesn't go very far for Cerberus. So good timing by AApex. Zapman should be used to that gank. It happens in ranked all the time. Not usually as common and competitive, but it works that time for AApex.
And remember, that's all set up because GetOnMyLevel meet up very early on with the jungler, with AApex at the enemy red buff and strip that one away. And then they just come right back into lane afterwards and get that gank. So they had some extra damage to help out with that one. Now they have some trouble here in middle lane. Poor AApex jumps up and right back down. He gets the stun, brutalized to get away. That almost works, but Atlas of the Other River closes the gap, just not enough.
Sometimes AApex reminds me of the solo laner. You know, he's Wing at you all the time. Sam Soccer's looking for him. Blink from Sam, but speed secured, and that is most important. Death irrelevant as a jungler. Got the speed. Totally worth it.
That's great recognition from Sam, though, that he'd be looking for that speed buff back there. So he's able to come in, blink right on through, and find the cleanup kill onto AApex, his first one of the game. Which is hard for me to believe as aggressively he's been playing, but that's it. The first spill for the jungler, and Sam now able to grab a nice lead, stripping away some of his farm.
Look, everyone loves a little up-down. Normally, the up-down is in the solo lane with the Bologna. You know, you're surrounded by 5 people. You up-down anyways because you're a solo laner. That's just kind of what you do. AApex giving us one in the mid lane as the jungler and got away with it, but ultimately ended up losing his life. I do appreciate the aggressiveness, though. We talk about it a lot with Southeast Asia, and you watch their Smite Global Series games. This is an aggressive region. They like to fight early on. And I think for a lot of teams, especially international teams that aren't used to playing against the best players in the world, you go up on the stage, you're at LAN, it's a totally different environment, you're up against a whole new set of players. And a lot of teams will lose that identity. They'll try and say, oh, we got to play slow. They're going to outplay us if we just play aggressive. And I appreciate that Southeast Asia does not change that identity for the most part. I think it gives them a much better chance to succeed.
Nice stun from Neil. Good taunt from Hickeyi. MakerLovE just barely does not end up falling to the heart bomb stun. But that aggression is why I was saying I thought GetOnMyLevel had a bit of a bad draw against Mouse. Because I think most teams are definitely capable of responding to it, but Mouse are actively looking to also fight early all the time. That's the way that they like to draft. That's the way those players like to play, especially Cheerio and Dardes in the dual lane. Not that Trifecta couldn't answer it, but it's tough when the team you're going up against is trying to do what you're doing better.
Yeah, I don't think that I can envision a matchup that Southeast Asia would feel really good about, potentially, as AApex does dodge out that crushing wave. Good damage onto Paul, who doesn't have the beads available. Paul's going to die here, but a lot of members of GetOnMyLevel will as well.
Get pulled right back in by the Stygian Torment. It's actually Neil and Sam who end up running away on the back of that. They didn't have any more damage. SirEclipse, though, trying to pull Eclipse back in, but able to dash right back out. So the Kuzenbo, even dancing a little bit, is going to be A-okay, but he needs to be careful he doesn't give too much back on the back end of this, as SirEclipse finds a nice heal.
Good engagement there by GetOnMyLevel. Paul under siege and used the purification beads pretty early, so didn't have them for when Ragnarok was hunting for him. AApex brought him back, and the Athena ult from Hickeyi was solid as well. Surprised that Sam kind of let Bluefish and Hickeyi off the hook, though. Those two were very low on the backside of that team fight, but Sam was pretty low on mana and was down below half HP, as was NeiruMah, so just not enough to stick it through and be able to survive and take that fight on the 2-on-2 that they probably would have won had they had the cooldowns up.
I've given up on the back end, but we saw a little bit of exchange over there in the solo lane as well, as Hickeyi actually dash in taunts onto Paul. He has quite a few friends around, but so far Paul seems okay. Brutalized, though, a little bit too strong, and Paul certainly will end up falling. But they have that Kuzenbo over there in the solo lane, which is we've been seeing him in the support for the most part this weekend, which I actually found a bit surprising. But now Eclipse is putting him over in the solo lane where he can do quite well for himself.
Yeah, I think Kuzenbo is definitely a sleeper good god right now. MakerLovE doesn't have the beads from earlier on. Heart bomb's there, and don't need to watch as MakerLovE will fall to Zapman in the Cupid. But Sam gets killed by Apex, return the favor onto his own speed buff.
Deja vu a little bit, just in the other direction, is a nice kill from Apex. And maybe even a chance to bait out Scary, who definitely still has the ultimate, which is a nice safety factor for him. But the stun lands before he expects it. He's already inside the Ragnarok and World Weaver coming. He will find the heal and the stun, but there's the damage. Apex now on a killing spree, 4-2-1 on the Fenrir.
Apex has been impressive, man. He understands where his fights can be at any given time, and might take some that are a little bit over-aggressive, but for the most part, he seems to have a really good sense of where he needs to be on the map, and his mechanics have been solid so far today. He was playing well on the Habwa in the last game, playing very well so far on this Fenrir. He's been a part of every kill for GetOnMyLevel so far.
And it's tough. I was saying Scary D still has the ultimate, which is a very strong tool for Baron when those ganks happen, but not if you're not expecting it. Once you're already inside the CC chain, it doesn't do you any good. The Unchained right into the Ragnarok, that was enough to reposition Scary D and the World Weaver on top of that. A nice gank attempt really to get on my level.
Taunt by Sam. Knockup isn't there, and neither is Stygian Torment. Both Sam and Neil drop the ball a bit and drop the kill onto Hickeyi.
But now Apex bites off more than he can chew, goes for a swim, and not gonna like the waters. Paul finds a nice kill in the middle lane. Bluefish gives them an apple on the back end, but with that fight already done, Trifecta shrug it off.
No red buff quite yet, but it is about to respawn, so that's exactly where Trifecta is going to lead. They did this a lot in game one.
They
Consistent red buff in this. Look at this ward coverage, as well as Hickeyi just off the mark with that taunt. Bluefish right behind him with the strife, and red buff goes down for Trifecta.
And of course you send Paul to zone, right? On the
Naturally.
Hopwa, because why not? He has so much damage at this point.
We should correct that. No one sends Paul to zone. It's just that no one explicitly told Paul not to zone,
right?
So he's going to.
And you expect no success if you tell him to retreat either. So
correct.
At this point, you let him do it. Good job waiting out the duration there. On the end of that Fields of Love, Hickeyi has nowhere to go. Zapman finds one more kill. A much better performance from him between Game 1 and Game 2. He was the focus a little bit in Game 1, but so far here in Game 2, he hasn't had to worry about it, and the Cupid looking good.
This is where Cupid makes his hay. You gotta be getting leads as Cupid around level 9, and as soon as you get that Heart Bomb max, you gotta be doing work. It's a good route for MakerLovE, positioning on the backside of expecting Zapman to dash. Zap never even gets the dash off, doesn't use the beads either. He falls to Hickeyi in Apex.
And I thought it might have been a bit overzealous there for MakerLovE to go in that much ahead of Apex, but he was able to land the root, and Apex got there just in time with the Unchained paired with Hickeyi and the Defender of Olympus, and it works out. And now let's get on my level considering this Gold Fury. I don't think that Trifecta recognized it just yet. Now Sanford Soccer might have had a chance to see it, but still no. It'll be Neil who recognizes first. They go for the zone, bring him back in with the Ragnarok, and he will end up falling, but now Sam here to try and clean up.
Big taunt, knockup as well. Sam doesn't get the heal off. Paul eats the apple as well as SirEclipse is right there. Double kill for Paul as Crushing Wave flattened Bluefish, but it's a triple kill for MakerLovE on the Neef. Is GetOnMyLevel looking pretty good through 10 minutes.
They can't grab the objective, but they'll absolutely take the fight. That all starts with that gank attempt onto Zapman in dual lane. They come right over to the Gold Fear on the back end of it, and then there's no recognition from Trifecta that's happening. And this fight's not done yet. They want Zapman yet again. Spirit Arrow is good for tons of damage. The Heart Bomb's not enough, and MakerLovE gets one more.
Just able to escape. I thought Apex was going to end up dropping the kill, but it was actually perfect that he doesn't hit the Brutalize, because that would have guaranteed Zap's autos, would have gotten Apex killed. He's just 10 steps ahead of me, understands that he doesn't need the damage. He'll trust MakerLovE to hit those auto attacks and let Zap try and focus him down, but just one auto attack short of that kill onto Apex.
They had so much damage onto Neil to start that Gold Fury fight. It felt like, I don't know if that was just Apex when he went in by himself or if he had some help from Bluefish, but they were able to burst that Cerberus down almost immediately.
Fenrir swings, dude. This character is been seen a lot so far this week. I mean, I'd reckon
That's
we've seen more Fenrir picks than, well, Pele is obvious because she's going to get banned a little bit more, but even the characters that you don't expect to see banned as much, but still picked quite a lot. I think we've seen more Fenrir than Baron so far this week. A lot of times it's in support, but this character, when he gets a lead, is very, very hard to stop. And this is a great game to pick the Fenrir because of the fact that I think he's good against Erlong Shen, because there's no way for Erlong to get out of that brutalize outside of using the ultimate. And he's great against Habwa because Habwa just has no recourse once you latch on with that brutalize.
Hickeyi goes in aggressive, but it's the counter blink that comes out. And IApex this time never even gets to play the game. Sam for Soccer takes him down. Hickeyi falls as well. A double for the jungler for Trifecta. And that time, GetOnMyLevel get a little bit overzealous. Trifecta there in great numbers.
That's just Sam saying, okay, we can play now. We'll play this for real, and we'll focus out IApex as we would normally affect Fenrir, and we'll see what happens. And IApex gets the breeze. Now Gold Fury started up. Great ult by, or root by MakerLovE, and he kills Paul right up against the wall. Scary should be able to catch up to MakerLovE here, and indeed he will. But a beautiful play, and Gold Fury not finished by Trifecta.
I think that's still a great play for MakerLovE, who's having an excellent game. Hickeyi can't find anybody with the taunt, and you're right, the Gold Fury does not go down, which is nice from GetOnMyLevel, but the backflip to narrowly avoid getting hit by the crushing wave, and then the auto has to follow up is excellent from MakerLovE. I thought he was dead to rights, just even before the crushing wave came out, because they knew he was there.
Beautiful play by GetOnMyLevel's Hunter, and now towards the Gold Fury. Zapman doesn't go to check right away. Now might be getting that itch that maybe they could be on gold, but I think it's too late.
They're going to send Hickeyi in to keep him away. The Unchained coming off IApex, but they have so little damage on the Gold Fury. Trifecta steal it away. Zapman finds Hickeyi as well. Now IApex with nowhere to go. Neil will bring him down as well, and just when things started to look good, Trifecta put the foot down.
Unfortunate for GetOnMyLevel. I don't know that Bluefish had committed the erratic behavior, and you use that on objectives so that you can get more cooldowns going in your favor. As MakerLovE uses Sprint, didn't pick up an egg. It's actually one with a Sprint.
Wow.
Maybe really concerned. I mean, it's good. It's great against the Cupid ult, so now he doesn't need to use beads against Cupid ult. It's a lower cooldown than the beads, so maybe that's his thought process, but Aegis certainly could have helped him out. But yeah, going back to that Gold Fury, I don't think Bluefish used erratic behavior. What you normally do as Discordia is use that and sit in the puddle to get your cooldowns back consistently. It ups your DPS by quite a bit. Without that, Discordia's objective DPS is awfully low. She's got long cooldowns at base. They're designed to be there so that you can bring them lower with erratic behavior when you get the opportunity. I don't know that Bluefish used it. Maybe he did it at the very early stages, but I think that in that situation, you're just sending Hickeyi to zone out Zapman and not IApex, because IApex is the one who's going to do the most objective damage on that Gold Fury.
Because they didn't have MakerLovE for that fight, and that's what I think truly slowed them down the most, is not having him there with them. As Sam gets caught, for some reason, GetOnMyLevel, undeterred by what just happened to them moments ago, and are re-aggressing into the jungle, and it works out. They find Sam for Soccer alone and find the kill.
And this is how Southeast Asia should be playing these international games, is you want it to be 12-12 in the kill department at 14 minutes. You need as many kills on the board as possible through 14, 15, 25 minutes, because that's how you're more likely to win these games. Bait Trifecta or whatever team you're up against into playing your style.
Well, the very edge catches Hickeyi, and that will be all she wrote. Zapman grabs the kill with the Fields of Love, but the Tier 1 tower does go down. Meanwhile, the B story is that Eclipse is in trouble. I think that might have been an attempt to try and catch up, but too far out of range was Paul for that to ever hit. But he does end up getting Eclipse in the end.
May have just been trying to keep his passive up on the Habwa. That is something that goes a little bit under the wayside. Habwa passive is really, really good. Adds extra scaling to your abilities as you're using them.
He actively wants to spam, yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one, so maybe Paul was looking for that. Or just wanted to shoot out some water from his hands.
Yeah, I thought he might have had Blink, really, is my initial thought on that, but no, the beads Aegis. So yeah, you're right, probably just to maintain the passive. Though SirEclipse was so low, I don't know.
Definitely did not need the extra skill.
Yeah, but that might have been the idea there from Paul. But either way, able to grab that kill, and Trifecta still in control of this game, I would say, but not perhaps as much as we saw from game one. This one not out of reach from GetOnMyLevel yet, though Trifecta, good recognition here to burst down this Pyromancer. GetOnMyLevel will not be here in time.
ScariD level 16 yet again. He has controlled the right side of the map. This time he did end up winning lane, got his enemy tower down before his own fell. Good jump away by NeiruMah. Still gets hit by that golden apple, but doesn't do too much to him. He's already got that Oni Hunter's Garb, which is good, cheap protection.
Might be an overcommit, though, from GetOnMyLevel. The rest of Trifecta are ready for the collapse. Fields of Love is good to force them back. Sam finds Bluefish and is going to turn his attention right towards Apex, just outside of that life of the party, so Apex will indeed be able to survive. SirEclipse a little bit too late to the party, and they have plenty of wards, so he's got to keep running.
Trifecta grouped as 5 can start pushing down this mid-tier 1. They do have some sustain, remember, in that Cupid. Not the usual healer you'd think of, but certainly gets the job done in moments like this, where not everybody is super low, but everyone could use a heart or two to get back up and healthy enough.
And get themselves topped off. I like the idea from GetOnMyLevel, trying to group up maybe a tad earlier than normal in this game and force down some of these towers. We saw them do it in tier 1, the tier 1 in left. They tried this tier 1 in mid, but that time Trifecta a little bit too ready for the response. They had reinforcements coming from solo jungle and plenty there in mid.
MakerLovE still top damage in the game right now, though. 8,100 is pretty good so far for the Neath. He's looked pretty solid, 5, 2, and 4. The sprint does concern me a little bit up against how much burst damage Trifecta has. You're going to want an Aegis whenever he's about to be hit by that Life of the Party ultimate. He's going to want it when he gets Crushing Wave, but we'll see if he can avoid it.
Apex not able to find anyone just yet with the Ragnarok. Good timing on Stygian Torment, and that will spell the end of the doggo. Zapman trying to keep things moving forward, though MakerLovE has plenty of damage. Sprint used, and the apple pretty late. It does not ever find home either. And Bluefish narrowly avoiding the 9 turns blessing, but not the knockup. And an easy kill for Sam.
MakerLovE could be next. Can't assume you're safe even in that position. Sprint used by Trifecta. ScariD will wrap that one up and get the 18th kill for Trifecta.
Fall right back to the Gold Fury, too, because why not at this point? No one really from GetOnMyLevel's around. That was 3 for 0 in favor of Trifecta in that fight. They're already up 7,000 gold, and why not grab yet another Gold Fury to add to it? Remember the last time they were here, they basically snatched it away from GetOnMyLevel. This one they earned much more outright, and the game's starting to feel out of control. 14,000 experience is absurd for 18 minutes in.
Same sort of problem they had in game 1, where the kills are pretty close. You know, they've been fighting pretty well, but there's just a lane or two that is getting too far ahead in XP, and it's again mid-jungle. Paul and Sam both very far ahead of their counterparts. And then solo for ScariD, who's up still 4 levels on that right-hand side of the map. And GetOnMyLevel now, this is where their usual style of fight all the time comes back to haunt them, because you can't fight anymore against Trifecta. You're just down too much XP. But if they aren't as well versed in playing the map and understanding where to get their golden experience without giving up too much to Trifecta as a traditional SPL team would be.
And you might be wondering, why doesn't everyone just fight all the time anyway? Well, it's because there's windows that you have to try and fight in, right? In between where there's less efficient things to be doing on the map. You know, once you've gotten your waves and your camps, you can have a window to fight, and then you go back to farming. GetOnMyLevel just fight all the time anyway, you know, and so they end up missing those windows that Trifecta capitalize on as Eclipse is forced into the watery grave and right. And I do also want to point out, since ScariD is dominating this solo lane matchup, they don't have GetOnMyLevel here, the player, I mean, in this matchup. I'm not saying it would be, you know, perfectly even over there in that lane if he was here, but it is an adjustment they had to make, since GetOnMyLevel had, I believe, a personal, you know, emergency he had to attend to, and now they're playing without him.
Apex has that Ragnarok, but Sam's beads are good, and not many characters win one-on-one auto attack trades up against Erlong Shen. Fenrir can with Seething Howl, but this time will not. Sam should have pin, but taunt is good, and Apex might be out. And on the left-hand side, MakerLovE nearly just got a Phoenix.
Apex continuing to run. MakerLovE is threatening it, but there will be a focus from ScariD, and he will not find it. Neil will eventually clean up the Fenrir as well, and SirEclipse must now run for his life. I like the attempts from GetOnMyLevel to try and spread this map a bit.
Yep.
And I think that's the best way in not letting Trifecta sort of group up and beat them as a team and find farm where they can, but Trifecta answering too well, and that will spell a fire giant.
SirEclipse is on the way, but we almost certainly won't make this in time. Nene Kappa, no, not there. Commits the blink, couldn't see the health from that range.
Right.
Totally the right call to make, just didn't have the information necessary.
Could not get in range in time. So Fire Giant, the first one of the game for Trifecta, 21 minutes in. And remember, this is our first elimination set. Get on my level. The squad will be bidding us to do if they can't close this out and at least force a game 3. And Trifecta will be moving their way on to fight the loser of SK up against Space Station Gaming. Whichever one of those ends up dropping down later on in the tournament. Backs up against the wall for Get on my level. And Trifecta bouncing back in this set after a tough loss yesterday.
They needed to win today, and they didn't need to just win. They needed to win convincingly,
Yes.
right? In order to have any sort of faith restored. I don't know that a lot of fans will feel ready to trust Trifecta again in their later matches, but they needed to at least make some sort of easy win happen, and I think they did through Game 1, and they're making it look pretty good here in Game 2 as well.
You heard Paul talking about it as the Tier 2 tower goes down and left, that they weren't exactly getting a lot of love during the season, but I mean, based on the scrims in between, a lot of teams coming into this were saying they had high expectations for them, and now they got to see if they can live up to them as Hickeyi gets pulled back in by the Stygian Tournament. Life of the party there as well, and that's all we wrote for the Athena. IApex can't find it with the Ragnarok thanks to the beads. In fact, Sam going to try and hunt him down. Unchained allows for the disengage. The Phoenix still healthy, but can we say the same for Get on my level?
Good ult on the NeiruMah. Great strife as well. Neil still alive because of Scary's heal. SirEclipse able to put him in the watery grave. Good thorns as well. Paul has no chance. In fact, he gets the double kill off that reflect damage.
Kuzumbo finally able to be a meaningful part of these fights and finds a double for himself. His first 2 kills of the game, actually, on that defense. Left side Phoenix does eventually go down, but Get on my level want to try and draw a little bit more blood on the back end. IApex takes quite a bit of poke as Scary D is frontlining quite well, but now Hickeyi back in the fray.
Still up
MakerLovE flips in aggressive.
Sam just goes in and kills one. Zap falls to MakerLovE, and now it's a 2-on-3. Scary D's got to get that heal off to save Sam, and there it goes, and Sam ready to fight.
They're going to try and take this 2v2 on the back end. Last one standing. A triple kill for Sam for Soccer, and Hickeyi, the lone Athena, not going to be able to do much. That Mink form to close the distance. Life of the party to deny the Quadra, but a deicide for Trifecta. They get the left side Phoenix and win the fight.
Look at how healthy Scary D is. Literally full HP. The man has a Lono's mask, and good luck killing him through that. He's not doing as much damage or as much healing because of this Lono's mask. I'm not a huge fan of it on Baron. I think that his ability to do relevant damage and relevant healing in the team fights is a huge part of why he's such a good pick in the solo lane, not just his control. But if you really are you just need the control from him, then this Lono's mask makes him near impossible to take down.
He is primarily there for the life of the party and the wrap at this point, right? Because
yes,
with Lonos, he's doing very little of anything else.
Also, don't forget that Vivid Gaze, when your madness is up, reduces your damage output.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I was thinking Baron doesn't do enough.
You were. What if his 2 also healed him and anyone else around him?
It does do that.
Yeah.
Also
What if it
sprint.
also, like gave you roots?
That's pretty good.
What if your root also hit other people if their madness was high?
That all sounds good. I'll take it. I'll take all of it. If I get to be Baron. I don't want to play against that.
I wish I could play Baron in mid more, man. He's so fun.
Baron
I do
is
think Baron mid is not that if characters like Zeus and Opwash are meta available, they aren't immediately disqualified by the way the meta is going.
Right.
If those guys are viable, I don't see why Baron mid can't be viable.
They do way more damage than him.
They don't do that much more, and he does a lot more control. I mean,
He does do a lot more control.
he
Yeah.
has a lot more control. He's safer than either of those 2 gods. I think the only argument is that his early game is worse.
It is not great.
But I don't think it's that much worse.
Scary D showing what his late game can do as he pulls back in Hickeyi. Watery Grave is there to try and disconnect, but Bluefish gets gobbled up by Sam for Soccer. Hickeyi still in some trouble as Scary D hunts him
Nice
down.
blink.
A nice blink gets him away, but a double for Sam. Paul finds SirEclipse, and MakerLovE and Hickeyi, the only ones still standing. The duo lane trying to keep this game going as Trifecta barrels down.
See here, if MakerLovE had blink, he could set up the Zeros play with a Defender of Olympus. That's the real wombo combo, Finch.
Ordinarily I would go, but no, Aegis is so good. But that's not even what he has. He has sprint in that slot.
How much worse is Blink then Sprint.
Not that much worse.
That's what I'm saying.
In all honesty, Trifecta now barreling down the mid Phoenix. Again, still just the dual lane. There'll be another 13 seconds until Bluefish rejoins them. And mid Phoenix, a foregone conclusion. Trifecta can go right over to the right if they want. Fire Giant is up on the map as well. It really feels like they can take what they want at this point. Up nearly 18,000 gold.
Fire is going to be the call for Trifecta. Going a little bit conservative.
Yeah.
With going, or not going, I should say, for the end in that position, but they definitely don't want to have a repeat of yesterday, where they feel like they've won a game and then they end up, you know, not winning the game.
It's a good point. If any team has earned the right to be a little bit overcautious, I think it's Trifecta. As IApex tries to defend this left side Phoenix, I don't know if he even has enough. This minion wave should make it okay for him. Yeah, he
absorb a couple shots and give him some extra DPS. So left side Phoenix is up and ready for the defense, but I don't know how long it can really say that. I mean, Trifecta is 6 slotted nearly across the board. Zapman, the only one who needs his 6th item to complete the build.
And you were touching on this earlier, but is this enough for Trifecta to start feeling restored at this point? I wouldn't say 100%. It's definitely something to build on, but you can definitely feel better, I think, after this set.
You're not going to feel worse.
Yes,
But I don't know how much Trifecta, if there was anything Trifecta could have done to not, to feel better about being in losers brackets today.
Yeah,
you know,
especially
the fact that they're playing today alone is probably enough to make them reconsider.
MakerLovE might want to reconsider his aggression. He falls very early on. Stygian Torment grabs 2, but IApex able to find a kill of his own, but sets up a double for Scary. Paul finds a double of his own with the crushing wave. Only SirEclipse and the Nene Kappa still standing. A surrender vote being considered, but it might be too little too late. Trifecta don't even need the left side Phoenix. They're going to take out GetOnMyLevel, remove them from the tournament, and move on throughout the lower bracket, completing this best of 3.
Trifecta looking much better today. We'll see how they do moving forward. GetOnMyLevel had a couple tough matchups overall and had some good moments. IApex, MakerLovE both had some shining moments in this set, but ultimately not enough. Trifecta sends them home.
And this was the kind of win that Trifecta needed, right? You were saying it needed to be convincing, and I think that they can feel good about the way they were able to complete this set here today. But their real work, the real rolling up of the sleeves that begins the next set they play. Again, I believe that's up against either Space Station or SSG or SK. And neither one of those are easy games, that I would say, for those teams. SK looking very good. They're very motivated here right now. Space Station, we haven't gotten to see them yet, but a very strong team. The path does not get easier for them.
No, and you'd expect Space Station to be able to beat SK and send SK down, but
right.
I really don't think that you can, if you're Trifecta, there is no way you can look at SK and say, oh, we should definitely be winning that.
No.
After losing to Insignum, because Insignum is the minor league team in Europe and SK is the SPL team in Europe.
Yes.
So you have to be, I really hope that Trifecta learned their lesson and is ready to put in a lot of prep work to go up against either SK or Space Station later on.
Yeah, they're absolutely going to have needed it. And unfortunately, that is going to do it for GetOnMyLevel. But as you said, I think there were some bright spots that we saw from that team.
Yeah.
Even though they are on their way out. So, glad we're able to see, them come here to the LAN environment, actually put in some good performances here. But let's get it back over to the desk, break down that set. Tell us what you thought.
Thanks so much, Finch. And aggro for that set. Yes, Trifecta find the 2-0, but game 2, GetOnMyLevel actually did look like a pretty decent team.
A lot of it came down to Neath performance from MakerLovE, and it's not the god that you would think would get some solo kills if that was the original goal onto Zapman, but it had some global pressure. It was able to find some cleanup kills, and that backflip, though, away from Paul's crushing wave in that one Gold Fury fight.
Just to the safety of it.
And I can't even say it was just Maker. IApex had a fantastic game on this Fenrir. We were talking kind of downward about it after being picked up after the Cuba, but he did some work, got that early first blood and a good early run going here for GetOnMyLevel.
I don't normally go out there about players too much, but I do think IApex is at least at a Smite minor league level. He could compete at the North American EU minor league for sure and get himself onto a team. So nice little signs of life out of GetOnMyLevel. Commiserations to them, though. They will be the first team eliminated, but then let's move the subject towards Trifecta themselves and their performance today. Yesterday, they took on Insignum and didn't look at themselves, falling down 2-1 there. Totally, there were some problems in that game too, in my opinion, where I think Trifecta are really struggling with what to do when they've got control of a game sometimes.
That's very true. They sometimes look like a brilliant team, you know, making all the good mechanical plays, but then objectively they start to slip up, allowing certain objectives to just fall through the cracks. And I think once they fix that they can go deeper into some of these online splits, deeper into some of these LAN environments. But I think overall, a successful game also from Scary D and Sanford Soccer.
They know how to put up the kills, but at the moment they're still just struggling to do something after those kills. They've gotten a couple of good goal Furies beyond there, but besides that, it's just been kind of a very awkward stage here for Trifecta in both of these sets.
It's a very interesting story as well, because the early game is good. I mean, Zap on the Cupid had a pretty solid performance there, but it's after the laning phase. It's after the initial time, and sometimes, totally, we've seen teams that have shot callers that change throughout the game based off the situation. Zap used to be one of those back in the day, if I remember right, where he wouldn't lead the initial comms, but once he was in control of a game and the team was in the group fight stage, he would start to take over the comms a little bit more so.
It was the objective calls that he would do for the most part. It's always going to be your frontliners that make the primary shot calls, whether it's going to be your jungler or support more often than not.
But there's a disconnect there in Trifecta. It's clear.
A little bit from time to time, but then when they're on point, you can definitely tell that they are a different team. There's the gap between their ceiling and their basement is certainly quite vast, and I think that they need to raise their basement a little bit higher.
Sanford Soccer will be your MVP for that set. Pretty good performance in both those two games. Naja in the game one, where Sashes from High Heaven, yes, he did wrap round the corner just in time. And then game two also had a whale of a time as well.
Got a good triple kill right at the very end there, and Scary D, you know, he kind of walked back into Scary D's ultimate at the very end there, took the quadra kill away from Sanford Soccer, but Erlang and Naja, I mean, those are the two gods that we know Sam so well for, and then this game was no different.
Now Sam joining this team after Mast left this team, and now he's finding himself in this spot. He's been with Zapman a while before in the old days of Eager, once upon a time. But that venture into Pro League play wasn't as successful for him. This time it looks like he's found his position on these teams and in the Pro League.
He just needed to learn a little bit, take some time to mature and iron out the kinks. And this is that triple kill that you were talking about here, J-Mac, where going back into Scary D's Baron to steal away that kill. And you can tell how comfortable Sanford Soccer is on this Erlang Shen, taking 1v2s, tower diving the tier 2 tower, and that's been allowing Trifecta to find the victory, at least in this set.
Erlang Shen on his own, though, just showing how things work and time again so far for 2 days. I expect more bans towards this god as the tournament continues. I don't think he's going to get through the entire time, do we?
There's just so many bans that you got to worry about. I think that Erlang Shen is almost at the bottom of that list, like Freya that you got to worry about, and I think Mercury is going to start being more popular as the tournament progresses.
But then we've got Freya, Mercury as the tournament progresses, Erlang, and who? Terra?
Pele, Terra as
Pele,
well.
Terra. So there's 5. That's why I'm like, Erlang seems to get through a lot more than the others. Surprisingly enough, there's more flex options.
I think Athena might be up there as well.
It's a good point, but we'll see that later on, as you said, as the tournament continues. It's time to have an interview, though, with Trifecta after their dominant performance over GetOnMyLevel.
Oh, hey, what's up, guys? Sorry, didn't know they were coming to us talking about Raymond Peckies, but now it's time to talk to Neil and Sam. Neil, congratulations, guys. How important was this for you guys to come out and get a clean victory here today?
It's important to get a victory for sure, obviously to get eliminated, but I'm still, as our game 2 performance, I'm not super happy with it. I think it could have been a lot cleaner. Doing a lot of chain dying and like not really following the system they have built up, so I think we could still be better. And I think it was good to get that kind of out of the way and start working towards what we know we can play like, especially in scrims, and I don't think we've really reflected how we like to play yet.
And you all were saying, you know, sort of on Twitter, you felt like you were able to learn some after the loss yesterday. It was unfortunate, but you learned something. And you even told us you felt like you hadn't been playing the way you've been meaning to. Do you guys feel like you're getting back in that rhythm now after this win?
Yeah, absolutely. You want it?
Yeah,
All right. Yeah, absolutely. I think that we're starting to get back. I think we were trying to play too much like individuals. Like we know everyone on our team can make a lot of plays, but the team is really good when you're all playing together and communicating really well. And I think that's something that was a little bit lacking is communication. Yeah. Not really talking about what we were looking to do and how we were going to be playing team fights, things like that. I think we played the map pretty well, but I think team fights especially and communication really need to be improved right now.
Sam, we didn't get to talk to you or anyone on Trifecta yesterday after the loss, but I think that you played pretty well despite the team's, overall performance not being what you wanted, and you played well again today. Is this what you really wanted to come out and do after, the last time you came to LAN with Very Nice to Me not going the way you wanted to?
I mean, yeah, of course. Always trying to play the best, right? Still always things that you can improve on, like just missed abilities and positioning in fights and stuff, but I guess I'm happy with my play, but obviously has to be unhappy because we just haven't played that well really still. So.
And I believe you all will be getting the loser of the SK Space Station set. Is there anyone you'd rather play? Like maybe you don't get much experience playing SK, so you'd want to see them, or rather go up against the NA team? What are y'all's thoughts on that one?
I don't think it matters to us, honestly. I think that, like, regardless of who you play, we think if we play our game, we have a very good shot of beating anybody.
No.
So I think the main focus for who we play doesn't really matter. It's more about, can we show up like we know we can? I think that's the big question. But it'll be an interesting set either way. SK looked good in their first set, regardless of who they played. They played pretty clean. And Space Station haven't played yet, I don't think, but it'll be really interesting. I think it'll be a good set.
All right, guys. Good luck when you play on Thursday. We're looking forward to it.
Thanks.